What if a single letter could change the course of the stars? Meet Victoria, a brave 10-year-old girl with a terminal illness and a dream bigger than the universe itself. When she writes a heartfelt letter to Elon Musk, asking to see the stars up close, no one expects the tech visionary to respond, least of all her. But what starts as a simple wish soon sparks a chain of events that no one could predict. From secret spacecraft prototypes to a jaw-dropping journey through the cosmos, Victoria's courage and Elon's compassion collide in a story where dreams defy gravity and time. Will Victoria's final wish reach the stars? And what legacy will she leave behind? Hold on tight, this is a journey you won't forget. Victoria sat by her bedroom window, her small hands pressed against the cool glass. The night sky stretched endlessly above her, dotted with countless stars that twinkled like tiny diamonds. She loved this time of day, the quiet, the stillness, and the feeling that the universe was just within her reach. Victoria was only 10 years old, but she had already learned more about the stars than most adults. She could name every constellation, explain how black holes worked, and even dreamt of one day visiting Mars. But Victoria's dreams were bigger than her reality. She was battling a rare illness, one that kept her indoors most days and made even the simplest tasks a challenge. Still, Victoria refused to let her illness dim her spirit. She spent her days reading books about space, building model rockets, and writing in her journal. Tonight, she had something special to write, a letter to her hero, Elon Musk. She picked up her favorite pen, the one with the glittery star-shaped cap, and began to write. Dear Mr. Musk. Hi. My name is Victoria, and I'm your biggest fan. I'm only 10, but I already know I want to be an astronaut when I grow up. Well, if I grow up. I'm sick, and the doctors say I might not have much time left. But before I go, I have one big dream: to see the stars up close. Not just through my telescope, but really, really close. Like, space close. I know you're super busy building rockets and electric cars and stuff, but I was wondering if maybe, just maybe, you could help me see the stars? I promise I won't take up much of your time. I just want to know what it feels like to be part of something so big and beautiful. Oh, and if you ever need someone to name your rockets, I'm really good at that. My favorite name is Stella. It means star in Latin. Cool, right? Anyway, thanks for reading my letter. Even if you can't help, I just want you to know that you're my hero. You make me believe that anything is possible. Your friend, Victoria. P.S. If you ever need a co-pilot for Mars, I'm available. Victoria folded the letter carefully and slipped it into an envelope. She drew a little rocket on the front, along with a smiling star. She didn't know if Elon Musk would ever read it, but writing the letter made her feel like her dream was just a little bit closer. Elon Musk sat at his desk, surrounded by screens filled with data, blueprints, and emails. It was late, and the SpaceX headquarters was quiet, but Elon was still working. There was always more to do, another rocket to design, another problem to solve, another dream to chase. He leaned back in his chair, rubbing his temples. The weight of his responsibilities felt heavier than usual tonight. Running multiple companies, dealing with constant criticism, and trying to change the world, it was exhausting. Sometimes, he wondered if anyone truly understood why he did what he did. A stack of fan mail sat on the corner of his desk, untouched. His assistant had left it there earlier, reminding him that people looked up to him. But Elon rarely had time to read letters. Tonight, though, something made him reach for the stack. He flipped through the envelopes, skimming the names and addresses. Most were from adults, engineers, entrepreneurs, and fans of his work. But one envelope stood out. It was smaller, with a child's handwriting and a little rocket drawn on the front. Elon opened it and began to read. As he read Victoria's words, something inside him shifted. Her innocence, her hope, her humor, it all reminded him of himself as a child. He remembered sitting in his room in South Africa, staring at the stars through a cheap telescope, dreaming of a future among them. A faint smile crossed his face. Victoria's letter was a reminder of why he did all this, not for fame or money, but to inspire people, to make the impossible possible. Elon read Victoria's letter again, his mind racing. He couldn't just let this go. He had to do something. But what? He picked up his phone and called his assistant. I need you to find out everything you can about a girl named Victoria. She sent me a letter. And clear my schedule for next week. I have an idea. The next morning, Elon sat down to write a response. He wanted it to be special, something Victoria would never forget. Dear Victoria, thank you for your letter. It made me smile, and it reminded me why I do what I do. You're right, the stars are beautiful, and they're waiting for us to reach them. I'd like to invite you and your family to visit SpaceX. I can't promise you a trip to space just yet, but I can show you the next best thing. We have a rocket launch coming up, and I'd love for you to be there to see it. Oh, and I think Stella is a perfect name. Maybe we'll use it for one of our rockets someday. See you soon. Elon Musk. P.S. I'll keep the co-pilot seat warm for you. Elon sealed the letter and handed it to his assistant. Send this right away. And make sure everything's ready for her visit. I want it to be perfect. As his assistant left, Elon leaned back in his chair, a spark of excitement in his eyes. He didn't tell Victoria everything he had planned. Some surprises were better left for the moment. But one thing was certain, this was going to be a day she would never forget. The day finally arrived. Victoria stood outside the SpaceX headquarters, clutching her favorite stuffed animal, a little astronaut she called Comet. Her parents stood beside her, their faces a mix of excitement and nervousness. They couldn't believe this was happening. Elon Musk had invited their Victoria to visit SpaceX. As they walked through the doors, a man in a SpaceX uniform greeted them. Welcome, Victoria. Mr. Musk is waiting for you. Victoria's heart raced. She had imagined this moment 1,000 times, but nothing could prepare her for what happened next. Elon Musk himself stepped into the lobby, a warm smile on his face. Victoria. It's so great to meet you, he said, extending his hand. Victoria shook his hand, her eyes wide with awe. Hi, Mr. Musk. Thank you for inviting me. Call me Elon, he said with a chuckle. And thank you for that amazing letter. It's not every day I get to meet someone as brave and curious as you. Victoria beamed. She couldn't believe her hero was standing right in front of her, talking to her like she was someone special. Elon turned to her parents. I've arranged a private tour for Victoria. I hope you don't mind if I steal her for a little while. Her parents nodded, still in shock. Of course. Take your time. Elon led Victoria through the facility, his enthusiasm contagious. This is where the magic happens, he said, gesturing to the massive hangar filled with rockets and spacecraft. Every piece of metal, every bolt, every wire, it's all part of a bigger dream. Victoria's eyes darted around, taking in the sights. It's like a spaceship factory, she exclaimed. Elon laughed. Exactly. And today, you're the VIP guest. As they walked, Elon explained the science behind rockets in a way that even a 10-year-old could understand. Rockets are like giant pencils, he said. They use fuel to push themselves up, just like you push a pencil across paper. But instead of writing, they're writing the future of humanity. Victoria listened intently, her curiosity bubbling over. What's the hardest part about building rockets? She asked. Elon thought for a moment. The hardest part is believing it's possible. When I started SpaceX, everyone told me it couldn't be done. But I didn't listen. I kept going, because I knew the stars were waiting for us. Victoria nodded, her eyes shining. I want to be like you when I grow up. I want to make people believe in the impossible. Elon smiled. You already are, Victoria. Your letter reminded me why I do all this. You're the reason we keep reaching for the stars. They continued the tour, stopping at a large glass window that overlooked a workshop. Inside, engineers were working on a sleek, futuristic spacecraft. What's that? Victoria asked, pressing her face against the glass. Elon's eyes twinkled. That's a secret project we've been working on. It's called the Stella. Victoria gasped. Like the name I suggested? Elon nodded. Exactly. I thought it was the perfect name for a spacecraft designed to take ordinary people to the stars. And since you came up with it, I think you should be the one to officially name it. Victoria's face lit up. Really? I can name it? Absolutely, Elon said, handing her a marker. Write it right there on the side. With trembling hands, Victoria wrote Stella in big, bold letters on the spacecraft. As she stepped back, she felt a surge of pride. "This is the best day of my life," she whispered. The highlight of the day was the rocket launch. Elon led Victoria and her family to a special viewing area, where they could see the launch pad up close. "In a few minutes, that rocket is going to take off and head straight for the stars," Elon explained. "It's carrying a satellite that will help scientists learn more about our universe." Victoria clutched Comet tightly as the countdown began. 10, 9, 8. Her heart pounded with each number. This was it, the moment she had been waiting for. 3, 2, 1, liftoff. The rocket roared to life, flames shooting out as it rose into the sky. Victoria watched in awe, her eyes glued to the spectacle. The ground shook beneath her feet, and the sound was deafening, but she didn't care. This was the most beautiful thing she had ever seen. As the rocket disappeared into the clouds, Victoria turned to Elon, tears streaming down her face. "Thank you," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Thank you for making my dream come true." Elon knelt down to her level, his own eyes glistening. "No, Victoria. Thank you. You reminded me why I do all this. You're the real star here." As the excitement of the launch settled, Elon took Victoria aside for a quiet moment. "So, what did you think?" he asked. "It was amazing," Victoria said, still catching her breath. "But there's something I didn't tell you in my letter." Elon raised an eyebrow. "Oh? What's that?" Victoria hesitated, then took a deep breath. "My real dream isn't just to see the stars. It's to be among them. Even if it's just for a moment, I want to know what it feels like to be in space." Elon's expression softened. He hadn't expected this. "Victoria, that's a big dream. But you know what? Big dreams are the ones worth chasing." Victoria looked up at him, hope shining in her eyes. "Do you think it's possible?" Elon smiled, but he didn't answer right away. "Let's just say I have a few ideas. But for now, how about we focus on making today unforgettable?" Victoria nodded, her heart full. She didn't know what Elon had planned, but she trusted him. After all, he was the man who made rockets fly. And if anyone could make her dream come true, it was him. After the rocket launch, Elon excused himself, leaving Victoria and her family in the care of his team. "I'll be back soon," he said with a mysterious smile. "There's something I need to take care of." Victoria watched him go, her curiosity piqued. "What do you think he's doing?" she asked her parents. "I'm not sure," her mom replied, "but I have a feeling it's something special." Minutes turned into what felt like hours as Victoria waited, her excitement growing with every passing moment. Finally, Elon returned, his face lit up with excitement. "Victoria," he said, "I have an announcement to make. And I want you to be the first to hear it." He led her and her family to a small stage that had been set up in the SpaceX hangar. A crowd of engineers, scientists, and reporters had gathered, their cameras ready. Elon stepped up to the microphone, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "Today, I met someone who reminded me why I do what I do. Her name is Victoria, and she's one of the bravest, most inspiring people I've ever known." Victoria's cheeks turned pink as everyone turned to look at her. Elon continued, "Victoria's dream is to travel to the stars. And while we're not quite ready to send civilians to space yet, I believe her dream deserves to come true. That's why I'm fast-tracking the development of the Stella spacecraft, the very one Victoria named earlier today. This project will be dedicated to her, and to all the dreamers who look up at the stars and wonder what's out there." The crowd erupted into applause, but Victoria was too stunned to react. Elon had just announced that her dream was becoming a reality, and it was all because of her. Elon stepped down from the stage and took Victoria's hand. "There's one more surprise," he said. "Follow me." He led her to a room filled with advanced VR equipment. "This is our latest project," he explained. "It's a hyper-realistic space simulation that lets you experience what it's like to be in space. And today, you're going to be the first to try it." Victoria's eyes widened. "You mean, I get to go to space?" "In a way, yes," Elon said with a smile. "Put on this headset, and you'll see." Victoria put on the VR headset, and suddenly, she was no longer in the room. She was floating in space, surrounded by stars, planets, and the endless beauty of the cosmos. "Wow," she whispered, her voice filled with awe. It's amazing. Elon watched as Victoria reached out her hand, as if she could touch the stars. Her parents stood beside him, tears streaming down their faces. "This is her dream," her dad said softly. "Thank you for making it come true." Elon nodded, his own eyes glistening. "She's the one who inspired me. This is just the beginning." After the simulation, Elon gathered everyone for one final announcement. "Victoria's courage and vision have touched all of us," he said. "And I want to make sure her story continues to inspire others. That's why I'm creating the Victoria Foundation, a non-profit dedicated to helping children with terminal illnesses achieve their dreams." The crowd erupted into applause once again, but Victoria was speechless. She had never imagined that her letter would lead to something so big. "This foundation will provide resources, support, and opportunities for children like Victoria," Elon continued. "Because every child deserves to dream big, no matter what challenges they face." Victoria's parents hugged her tightly, their hearts full of gratitude. "We're so proud of you," her mom whispered. Victoria looked up at Elon, her eyes shining with tears. "Thank you," she said. "For everything." Elon knelt down to her level. "No, Victoria. Thank you. You've reminded us all why we reach for the stars." As the day came to an end, Elon stood outside, looking up at the night sky. The stars twinkled above, just as they had on the night Victoria wrote her letter. He thought about everything that had happened: the rocket launch, the Stella spacecraft, the Victoria Foundation. It was all because of one little girl's dream. "You've done it again, Victoria," he said to himself. "You've reminded me why I started this journey in the first place." As he stood there, a voice echoed in his mind. It was Victoria's voice, reading a new letter she had written to him. "Dear Elon, thank you for making my dream come true. I'll never forget the day I saw the stars up close, even if it was just in a simulation. But more than that, thank you for believing in me. You've shown me that no dream is too big, and no star is too far away. I know you have a lot of work to do, but I hope you'll keep reaching for the stars. Because somewhere out there, another kid like me is dreaming of the impossible. And you're the one who can make it possible. Your friend forever, Victoria. P.S. Don't forget to save me a seat on the Stella." Elon smiled, his heart full. He looked up at the stars one last time, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. "We'll get there, Victoria," he whispered. "For you, and for all the dreamers out there." And with that, he turned and walked back inside, ready to continue his journey to the stars. Did Victoria's journey to the stars inspire you? If you believe in the power of dreams and the magic of storytelling, don't stop here. Hit that like button to show your support, and subscribe to Prime Tales for more heartwarming stories that remind us all to reach for the stars. Share this video with someone who needs a little hope today, because dreams are meant to be shared. And don't forget to leave a comment below. What's your biggest dream? Let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, keep dreaming big. And never stop looking up.